lot of people getting in touch this morning seem quite content with things regards England. SJM is saying, if we went into this tournament unbeaten, it would bring even more unwanted expectation. We've shown we can play and score, so no need to worry.
Yeah, you want to get a balance. I mean, what we want... Graham was sort of talking yesterday, as soon as again was talking about your British media, and you lot are talking, tearing yourself to pieces again. It amuses me as a Scotsman. But I can't advocate for a British press to be cheerleaders for the England team. You've got to write what you see. If you get beat 4-0 by Hungary, you can't say, don't worry about that, we'll build momentum further down the line. If you're pretty poor against the Italians, what do you expect the British press to do? Be a bunch of gormless idiots? Well, some of them are, but write articles that are based upon cheerleading.
No, but you do have a swipe at the media for building up certain narratives. Now you're saying they shouldn't be cheerleaders. So what do you want?
Well, what I want is fair observation, and I think the British press over the England team have been writing fair observations. The team's been poor. Yeah. What are you supposed to do? What Souness was saying yesterday was, actually, you guys tear yourself to pieces. Here you go again, coming up to another tournament, ripping the England manager to pieces. Well, the 6 games leading up to a World Cup are a narrative. Why would you want to lose these games?
Yes, exactly.
Why would you want to give the media an opportunity to write fair headlines, which is, by the way, this isn't good enough?
No. Well,
I think it's fair game.
The headline in itself is there for everybody to see. England have now not won for 6 games. Yeah. In spite getting a 3-3 draw with the Germans last night, when it looked like they win it, England haven't won for 6 games. But they go into this tournament now, and the only way is up, you would think. There's Jordan from Bournemouth. I think England's chances are 3 out of 10. We've been lucky in the last 2 tournaments with who we've been drawn against. So you always say that. Yeah. When we come against the big boys, we struggle. We fold under pressure. There's Mark in Burton Latimer. Where is that? Is that a place, or is his name Mark Burton Latimer? England are well short of winning. Going forward, they're okay. Ropey at the back. I mean, everybody's got an opinion at the moment, but it only matters when the whistle goes against Iran.
And England, without people suggesting that by saying this, it's English arrogance. You would expect, there's no point being contrite and hiding your light behind a bushel. England should win the group and come out of it. Yeah. That's the job, and that's what I expect them to do. Now, when you start getting into a tournament where you're playing proper grown-up teams that are expected to compete in the tournament themselves, that is where we may come unstuck. But the expectation going into the World Cup, whether Gareth Southgate likes it or not, is our job is to go to this World Cup and win it. That's the job. Yeah,
which was what Kieran Trippier said to us a few weeks ago. We're in it to win the thing.
And that's great. It's great to hear a player speaking this way. I think perhaps he won't be told to say that again because they'll want to manage people's expectations. But a World Cup semi-final that we should have beaten Croatia in if we'd had a bit more tactical nous about ourselves. A European Championships pretty much at home that we should have won if we'd had more tactical nous. The next building block is to get to a World Cup final and win it. And here it is now. No injuries, no challenges, no end-of-season fatigue. Away you go, lads.
Oh, exactly. And just to be clear on this, you're expected to beat Iran, right?
Of course.
You're expected to beat the USA.
Of course.
With all due respect to all our Welsh listeners all around the country, you're expected to beat Wales.
But those games have a very different dynamic about them. So I don't think it's a given we beat the Welsh. I think it's more likely to be a draw. I think we'll beat the Iranians and we'll beat the Americans, albeit we've struggled against the Americans in tournaments before. But I think England are a better unit now than they were in 2010. Yeah, I think they're a better unit with a better group and a better group of players. Yeah. So with that in mind, I expect us to come out of the group with 7 points.
Dom and Kendall, you're saying what a lot of people are saying this morning. Southgate has got to go in there and win the World Cup.
Exactly.
Or he's gone, in my opinion, says Dom. He said Harry Maguire should be nowhere near that 11. I feel sorry for Harry Maguire at the moment. He's getting absolutely clobbered, isn't he?
Why do you feel sorry for him?
Well, I do think, look, the guy is, what's he out to do? Do his worst or do his best? He's trying to do his best, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So you can only commend him for that. And what doesn't help is this pile-on, which seems to be constant.
Is it unfair?
Cut the guy a bit of slack.
Why?
Are the
observations unfair?
Why boo him pre-match?
Well, it depends how many people booed him. There's always going to be a selection of people that are rather stupid and follow particular narratives.
No, don't boo him at all pre-match. He hasn't done anything.
I agree. I think that's rather silly. Yeah. But when you talk about the criticisms in the press, well, I think the criticisms are probably valid. Yeah. And I think he's had plenty of praise in the past. People talked about him being a colossus in various World Cups and the absolute standout defender. So when he's not, he should accept that. It goes with it. He is ridiculous in interviews after games. When you listen to him, it's dialed in robotic nonsense that comes out of his mouth back in the day with Manchester United.
But he's become an easy target, Simon, is what I'm saying.
Well, he has, but okay. But he became an easy target yesterday because he gives a ball away, gives a penalty away, gives a ball away in Germany's half, in our half that the Germans break the score from. But I actually don't think those are things that he needs to be lambasted for. They need to be pointed out. They're individual errors.
Yeah.
But he's not match fit. And that goes to Southgate. Because if he's not match fit, and if he doesn't go and play 6 or 8 games now between now and the World Cup with Manchester United, he's going to be in the same condition when he goes to the World Cup. Fortunately, we're playing lesser opposition. So he may not get exposed and he may get his sharpness by playing against lesser opposition. But when he comes up against big players that are really at it, on it and across it, if he isn't match fit, he's going to get turned inside out like he did last night. When
his mistakes are always heightened more than anyone else.
Because he's the one that's making... Well, I'm not sure about that. Nick Pope made a mistake. Everyone's heightened that. Everyone's focused on that, haven't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're saying Foden played well last night. A bunch of people are saying to you, what game are you watching?
I thought he played okay.
Last night he didn't.
No, I thought he played okay.
And that, my friend, is why you're not in charge of England.
Maybe I'm conflating the 2 games. Maybe I'm conflating his performance in the 2 games. But I thought he was busy and available and a very... focused individual. Whether some of the output and the end content was as good as it could be, maybe there's a debate there.
Well, 54 days from Qatar, how would you rate England's final report card? Dave, Arsenal fan in Hornchurch, how would you assess England now that no more games, you're off to Qatar? What's your take on it, Dave? Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Listen to you every morning. Good morning, Simon.
Morning.
My take on it is it's the same old, same old. You've got England managers setting up. Not how can we win the game, how can we not lose the game? And Gareth Southgate's mindset is setting up every single game is let's not go and win it. We've got talented young players, Saka, Foden, Bellingham, all these young players, and they're held back. They're held back because he's too defensive. He's too negative. And then it comes... that the only reason why we looked good yesterday in parts is because we was chasing a 2-0 lead. And let's be honest, it was only because Saka and Mount came on and was playing with freedom because we were 2-0 down and they had nothing to lose, changed the game. Until then...
I think you make a very good point, Dave.
We was dead and buried. Up until then, we was dead and buried.
He does make a good point insofar...
So they take the handbrake... Southgate takes the handbrake off and you're 2 down.
Okay, but there's an observation that he doesn't react and he doesn't make tactical changes and he doesn't necessarily affect the outcome. Well, he just did. So we can't turn around and say that you don't affect the outcomes and you haven't got the ability to change and you're one-dimensional. And then when he does change, ignore that.
Yeah.
By the same token, I do think Dave is right. I think Gareth Southgate manages like he played. He was a steady Eddie. He was reliable. There was nothing inspirational. There wasn't something that got you out of your seat. And of course, you don't expect central defenders to get you out of your seat, but you do expect something that vaguely resembles the embodiment of a leader. And I don't think Southgate embodies that. But I think England took control of the game at certain times yesterday and not in others. But that's playing against top international opposition. It happens that way.
OK, Dave, listen, thanks for the call. Dom, coming to you now. Liverpool fan, Dom. We don't have much time, Dom, but what do you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that, Jim. I think Gareth Southgate is. I think he's a reactive manager. He's not proactive. He sort of reacts to something when it happens rather than be proactive and smell blood and think, oh, I need to change this. Just one thing I wanted to say on Maguire, though. I really do think that, our eyes don't lie to us, gents. He's really got to start looking at this. If we get to the tournament and Harry Maguire's not played games, we've seen that challenge that he made for the penalty. It just looked like somebody that hasn't played football for a few weeks.
Good point.
He cannot take him if he's not playing for me.
Dom, before we hit the headlines, unfair or not, I'll ask you: do England go to Qatar and do they win it? Do they win?
I've massively got me down. I don't think they do, Jim. No, I don't think they do.
Okay, Dom, listen, thank you for that. Go on, Dom.
They'll get out the group, I think. I think they'll get out the group comfortably, and I think they'll probably choke by about the quarters.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.